Welcome to a new English lesson brought to you by Ritzy English Castle. This is Ráضي, الشافعي with you. In today's lesson, we learn some tips for improving our academic writing skill. In our presentation today, our presentation is divided into two parts. In part one, that's the lesson of today, we learn some sentence types. And in part two, we're going to learn how to avoid some common structure errors, but this is not included in our presentation for today. For today, we focus on sentence types. So let's start. There are four different types of sentences in English. The first is a simple sentence. The second is a compound sentence. The third is a complex sentence. And the fourth is a compound complex sentence. What kind of sentence are the following sentences? He learns English. He learns English, studies math, and practices sport. He, his brother, and his sister learn English. He, his sister, and his brother learn English, study math, and practice sport. What kind of sentences are these? Are they a simple sentence, or a compound sentence, or a complex sentence, or a compound complex sentence? Let's see. All of them are a simple sentence. All of them are classified as simple sentence. In a simple sentence, in the first sentence here, we find simple subject, he, and simple verb, which is learns. In the second sentence, we find simple subject, he, and the compound verb, learns, studied, and practices sport. In the third sentence, we find compound subject, he, his brother, and his sister. This is the subject or a compound subject, and a simple verb, which is learn. In the fourth sentence, we find the compound subject, he, his sister, and his brother. And we find the compound verb, which is learn English, study math, and practice sport. All of them are classified as simple sentences. So, to move on to the next. Let's consider this sentence. I like English, but I do not like Spanish. I do not like science, nor do I like math. I study English hard, for I want to take the TOEFL test. I study English hard, I want to take the TOEFL test. What kind of sentence are these sentences? Are they simple, or a compound, or a complex, or compound complex sentence? Let's see. These are compound sentences. Okay. So how do we form a compound sentence? For a compound sentence, you will find two independent clauses with a coordinating conjunction or a semicolon. Let's consider the first one. In the first one, I have the first independent clause, which is I like English. That's the first independent clause. Then I have a conjunction, a coordinating conjunction, but. And after the coordinating conjunction, we find another independent clause, which is I do not like Spanish. So we describe the sentence as a compound sentence. In a compound sentence, you find the two independent clauses connected together with a coordinating conjunction. In the second sentence, I have I do not like science. That's the first independent clause. Then I have a conjunction, which is nor, and another independent clause, which is do I like math. In the third sentence, I have I study English hard. That's the first independent clause. Then I have a conjunction, which is for, and after the conjunction, I have another independent clause, which is I want to take the TOEFL test. So that's a compound sentence. In the fourth sentence, I do not have a coordinating conjunction, but I have a semicolon. That punctuation mark is a semicolon, and it acts like a coordinating conjunction, making a compound sentence. I study English hard, semicolon, I wanted to take the TOEFL test. That is the way we form a compound sentence. So, in order to form a compound sentence, you need to link or connect the two independent clauses with one of the coordinating conjunctions. The coordinating conjunctions in English are 7 conjunctions, which are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so, and the semicolons. These are the tools that you use in order to make a compound sentence. You can remember them with the acronym FANBOYS, where F refers to for, or stands for for, A stands for and the N stands for nor, and so on. Okay, let's move on to the third type of a sentence. Okay, when I met him, he was listening to music. That's the first sentence. The second sentence, this is the car which I bought yesterday. Are these sentences, are they simple sentence or a compound sentence or a complex sentence? Let's see. These are classified as complex sentence. In a complex sentence, you find a dependent clause and an independent clause. If we look here at the first example, when I met him, he was listening to music. I find the first clause here, I met him. I met him, that's a dependent clause. And after the comma, I have another main clause or independent clause, which is when he was listening to music. So if you have a dependent clause and an independent clause linked together, or connected together with a conjunction, subordinating a conjunction, like when in the first example, that's a complex sentence. The second sentence, this is the car which I bought yesterday. This is the car, that's the independent clause, and I bought yesterday, that's the dependent clause. The dependent clause and the independent clause are connected together with the relative pronoun which, making or producing what we call a complex sentence. So to form a complex sentence, you need an independent clause and dependent clause, and you connect them together with a subordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunction. Anyway, subordinating conjunctions in English are any conjunction in English except femboys. Because as we have just seen, for femboys, we call them coordinating conjunctions and we use them to make the compound sentence. But for a complex sentence, use any conjunction in English except femboys. Like when, while, until, if, unless, although, because, and so on. And remember the word subordinating conjunction. That's the way we form a complex sentence. Then we move to the fourth type and the last type of the English sentence. When I saw him, he was listening to music, but he did not notice me. If you consider this sentence, you would find that I have a dependent clause, I saw him, and an independent clause, which he was listening to music. Then a conjunction, a coordinating conjunction both, and after the coordinating conjunction, I have another independent clause, which is he did not notice me. So this sentence contains subordinating conjunction, which is when, and another coordinating conjunction, which is what, which is but. So what kind of sentence is that? We will see. When I saw him, he was listening to music, but he didn't notice me, although I had knocked on the door. Let's consider that structure. Here I have when, which is a subordinating conjunction, and but, which is a coordinating conjunction. Then again, although, which is another subordinating conjunction. So what type of sentence is that? All of these we call them compound complex sentence, as we shall see right now. When I saw him, he was listening to music, but he did not notice me, although I knocked on the door, which was closed. Here again, we have subordinating conjunction when, and we have coordinating conjunction but, then another subordinating conjunction although, and another subordinating conjunction which is the relative pronoun which. So if you have a subordinating, if you have a coordinating conjunction and a subordinating conjunction in the same sentence, that structure we call it compound complex sentence. So in order to produce a compound complex sentence, you need to use a coordinating conjunction and a subordinating conjunction inside the same sentence. And by now we come to the end of our lesson for today. In a separate video, we are going to discuss the most common structure errors that we produce inadvertently when we write English. I hope you have enjoyed our lesson. Bye bye and see you next time.